Entertainment.
Welcome to Business Over Beer, where entrepreneurs, small business owners, and people passionate about what they do bring us their stories and their favorite beer. Hosted by Ben Surratt, Jonathan Kaler, and Jason Knope, it's time to get down to business and drink some beer.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to part 2 of our interview with Lou Alexander. Knope, who is Lou Alexander?
Lou Alexander was an All-American at Syracuse. He was an ex-NFL player with the New Orleans Saints, and he's also the owner of Big Ass Jogger and Authentic Impact. Lou, how you doing tonight, man?
I am doing amazing. After these Golden State ciders, I am doing amazing.
Yes.
Ciders?
Dude, I am Big Ass Jogger, so I had to have at least 2 ciders.
I'm thinking he might be the real terror of power, guys.
Dude, my
It
goodness.
could be.
I
I'm
think
still
he might
finishing
be.
mine. Look at this. I got some left.
Lou, for anybody who might have missed part 1, not that anybody would have missed part 1. I can't imagine that could possibly be the case, but just in case somebody missed part 1, why don't you give us once again the 50,000-foot view of your businesses and kind of what you're into?
Absolutely. So yeah, like you guys mentioned, part 1, I'm the owner of an apparel line and also run club, Big Ass Jogger. So we inspire people to be their biggest selves at whatever they do. Also, too, I own Authentic Impact, where we are on a mission. We're truly on a mission to help people, really live their full potential by being authentic. And then also by making an impact to the world in however fashion that looks to you, right? We want you to be impactful. We want you to take a stand. And a speaking company, I run that along with my wife. She does my PR and marketing. And yeah, we are just continuing to be busy, but again, staying authentic and making an impact every single day.
Well, we got a lot about you and your background and what you're all about in part 1. It was amazing. It was motivating. It was moving. I loved every minute of it. And I can't wait to learn more about Big Ass Joggers. Can't wait to hear more about Authentic Impact. But before we get there, it's been a week, Ben. I've been waiting all week for this. You look thirsty.
Jonathan, it's been a long flipping week, and I am thirsty. Lou!
Yo.
Every episode of the Business Over Beer podcast, my lovely wife, Angela, picks us out a mystery beer.
Okay.
We call this segment
Okay.
Angie's Mystery Beer. Now, good news, bad news. Good news is we get to drink more beer. Bad news is the beers that she usually picks out is, how do you say, Jonathan?
They're typically high octane. And I heard a rumor that when she picked this beer for this episode, that she gave her signature cackle.
It was a cackle.
That's what I heard.
So anyways, Lou, here's the deal. Here's how this game works. Well, this segment works. We're going to pull the bag over the can and pour a little bit in our glass.
All right.
Take a sip and try to guess what it is. It's a game we play.
All right.
Yeah, it's just a game. It's no big whoop.
That's all right. It's Friday night. We can have a little fun.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly right.
All right. Cheers, bros.
All right, Prost.
Prost.
Yes.
Ooh, that's good. That is so good.
My
That
goodness.
is good. That is good. And go from the cider to this?
Yeah, the cider cleansed us perfectly for this.
It did.
I was expecting a real hot bomb, something heavy duty, but it's not. It's almost more malty. It's kind of smooth. It's got a big mouth feel, but not overly bitter. At least not the first drink wasn't.
For me, it's bitter. After the second drink, it was more bitter. It was more bitter than the first.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. There it is. Comes up.
But it's not like, for me, usually these double IPAs tend to feel a little boozy. But it doesn't feel that way for me. Lou, I'm not a heavy beer drinker. I don't like I like the lighter stuff. So that's why.
See, I'm right with you. So I don't like beer, but if I did, like I'm a terrible beer drinker. I'll drink a Corona. That's it. And I don't even know if that's real beer. But at the end of the day, you guys are the experts. I'll leave it to you. But I'm with you.
I'm no expert.
It's not super boozy, which is nice. But it's high octane for sure.
Oh yeah.
I don't think there's any question in my mind. It's a double IPA. It's got a great malt backbone, huge mouthfeel. I like the bitter up the back. It's a nice beer. It's really tasty.
Wow.
Agreed.
True to the style. I'll be surprised if it's anything but an Imperial IPA. Go ahead, Ken Oper. Big reveal. Let's see it.
Uh-oh.
Trail Builder from Barrel Mountain Brewing, Imperial India Pale Ale.
Barrel Mountain.
Yeah.
Dude, I didn't know they made
Washington.
From the makers of No Bad Days IPA, which we've had on this show. There it is.
Wow.
So Lou,
Yes, sir.
this is business over
Yes, sir.
beer, and I want to talk a little business.
Yes. Let's talk a little business.
So you mentioned a lot about adjust and your life. And I love football terms when I talk about stuff. Ask the dudes. Yeah. Like I love it. And the one phrase I use is audible.
Yes.
I think there's a correlation, and I'm going to ask, this is a question, I'm going to make a statement question. Is there a correlation between the way that you have your business life is the way you were able to audible? And is that part of the football thing, or was this something you just learned along the way with your community that you built around you?
Amazing question, but 100%. I am a sucker for football analogies, and that is truly what it really forms my life and how I approach business specifically. I just wrote an article on this, and it's called Securing the Win. I just wrote an article on this, and what we talk about specifically in Securing the Win is all the different steps in the small wins within the game before you actually win. So within the game, there's going to be adjustments, right? Tendencies that you have to learn from your opponent. There's going to be formations that you have to get out of. You have to audible, to use your term, to make sure that it's an effective play against the defense that you're running against or the offense that you're running against. Business is aligned the exact same way. There's a lot of times that I had to change my formation in life, in business, right? I was formatted and I had a formation of one way of thinking. We go back to mindset, right? I had one way of thinking about what life was and how you approach it. But when I got to business, you have to be a little bit more strategic. And then within football, you have to find what those tendencies are. And with business, you got to find what your tendencies are. So for me, I'll give an example. As a salesperson, if you're calling on a customer 100 times and they don't pick up, what is the first thing you do? You put down the phone. I have to make an audible. I have to find another pronged approach to outreach to actually get to that customer. So I may send a LinkedIn message. I may send an email. I have to be versatile. Well, let's say all of those shut down. Does that mean you lose the game? No, not at all. That doesn't mean you lose the game. That means you go back to the film, you watch it, and then you figure out the things that you did wrong, and you try to apply the right things. So I always call it watching tape. It's the same thing. We go back and we study practice, right? just like sales. I go back and I study practice. I want you to record your calls. I want you to listen to your tone. I want you to listen if it was I and not client facing. I want you to listen if you were taking yourself out of the equation and you were actually understanding the pain points of the customer. Goes back to football. Do you know what's going on the side of you? If you're playing offensive line, is your offensive line lineman that's next to you, is he athletic? Is he strong? Can he get up to a backer when you guys are double teaming? Can he get up to the backer and get to the double team so the running back can have a hole and a clear path? The same way in sales. When you're talking to a client and you're asking for information and you're discovering, is that client open to give you information? Is that client, does he even have a pain point or are you forcing it, right? So all these things correlate into sports for me. And I just simplified it. And I just made it fit within my world because I knew X's and O's very well. But what I didn't understand is spreadsheets. I didn't understand how to multi-thread an account. I didn't understand marketing lingo. I didn't understand all these things, but I simplified it and I made it X's and O's. And I said, wow, okay, so what it means if I'm reaching out to a prospect in a specific persona and they are a C-suite and they're in the C-level, that means that I have to be a little bit more direct and efficient with my time. They care about efficiency gains. They care about the bottom line. They care about P&L. They care about growth profit margins. That's what they care about. They can care less about features and functionalities of a product. Same thing with football. If I'm playing USC and I'm going, man, what is Pete Carroll tendencies? Oh, he likes to run the ball. Okay, so we're going to put a defense in place that's going to stop Lindell White. I'm going to stop you, Reggie Bush, right? And then it just makes it easier that way. So I watch old film and then I watch new film. And I just study them as if I'm on a football field. So yes, I draw football analogies as if I'm in the sales world, 100%.
See? Thank you, Lou. That was amazing.
What I think is comical is Ben said he talks in football analogies, which is not accurate. He talks in sports analogies, right? He draws on sports of all kinds. So
right.
And that's cool. And we love him for it.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know how badminton plays in parts of sales, so that's just me. But it may have a correlation.
There's your homework. The next time you come on our show, I need you to come up with a badminton reference with regards to sales. That would be awesome.
You just got to understand how to handle the shuttlecock.
I gotta learn that. There we go.
Or the birdie as people call it, shuttlecock.
See, no, when and Lou will appreciate this, Ben. When you've made the sale, stop selling. Okay.
There you go. The
shuttlecock joke was really funny. You ruined it by bringing in the birdie, right? Shuttlecock was a winner. Birdie turned out to be a loser. Come on, bro. Lou, your business started off as a joke, I understand. You've got an overweight ex-lineman, and then you started jogging.
Yeah.
And you ended up developing an apparel company and a running club and a community to help yourself and to help others. So tell us a little bit about that story. Tell us about how that started as a joke and how that joke actually turned into to a business venture for you.
So I'll be remiss not to say, chirr. That's exactly how it started. Exactly. And in all seriousness, the chirp, it's I call it the voice of inspiration. And I needed something to wake me up in the morning to do something during a pandemic, right? During the pandemic, we were all forced to adjust, man. We talk about adjustment. We talk about all these different things that create us in this uncertainty, in this uncertain circumstance. We had to adjust. And this is a real story. I'm walking with my wife and my son. At the time, we're in a process of home shopping. We're looking to buy a home. We were living in an apartment at the time. The apartment was getting cluttered. We're in quarantine. There was no gyms open. I couldn't do anything. I didn't have a gym at home I can work out at. I had a couple of bands or whatever, but I just didn't have anything. And I started to feel deflated. I started to feel like I didn't have an outlet outside of work and family. You know, I always tell my wife, I want you to be your best self at whatever you do. I need to find out how I'm gonna be my best self in this time because it's tough. And so we're walking with the stroller, and I told my wife, I said, hey, you go in early. I'm gonna take Coda, and that's my son, and I'm just gonna walk with him, and I'm just gonna try to jog with him. And I start jogging with my son, and I'm like, after the jog, I'm like, wow, why do I feel this way? Like I was sweating profusely, and I'm like, why am I feeling like this? Truthfully. And I'm like, wow, okay, at the time I'm 280. And I'm like, this feels good. I'm like, I'm gonna come out tomorrow and see if I get the same feeling without my son. And we only jogged probably a half a mile, but I was exhausted. And so we come back the next day and I get on social media and I just say chirp, chirp. And then I start jogging and I start to say motivation, but I'm sweating. And then I started to feel myself have a certain level of energy that was out of body. It wasn't for me. We go back to the self-service thing. It was about how do I serve others that are watching me because they're enjoying seeing this 280-pound man jog down the street. And so I get back home and I literally say this on Instagram. I said, hey guys, you know what I'm thinking about? I want to call all the big ass joggers and I want you guys to come and run with me. It doesn't depend on your size and stature. It doesn't depend on your economic status. I don't care about your race, your creed. I want you to come jog with me because I think it's something that everyone should do. And all of a sudden, ping, 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 ping. Hey, Lou, hey, I want to come jog. And then what happened after is the results started to follow, right? So it was no longer me giving motivation as just lip service. It was me giving motivation and inspiration as, how is this dude losing so much weight and he's staying dedicated to this? And so I told my wife, I came home and I said, you know, I'm an extremist, right? And I asked her the question. She said, yeah, I know. Every time you get an idea, you just want to go full blown with it. So I said, hey, I'm going to start an apparel line and I'm going to tell people to be their biggest self at whatever they do. And when they put on my stuff, they're going to feel empowered by having a big ass jogger logo because it means so much more than what the name is. It means be your biggest self at whatever you do. And she was like, okay, let me see what happens. So I found a manufacturer. I found people that was going to do my printing. I started to find like my process. And that was the biggest thing is I need to get three things in place. I need to make sure I had a product. I need to make sure I had people. And I need to make sure I had a process. And the people were just me and my wife. That was it. That was the only people that we had. I didn't have any extra money to allocate towards this. My wife, she has stepped down from her job during the time, so I was supporting the household. I just had to make sure that I was spending money wisely, so I couldn't have a big upfront investment. But I found a manufacturer. I found someone that could print on demand, and I found someone that could ship and do labels for me. And I set up a nice photo shoot. I set up a nice video, and then all of a sudden, I launched. March 23rd is when I launched Big Ass Joggers Apparel, and it took off. The first week, we sold out of everything. I couldn't fulfill orders, and it was just from social media. I didn't run not a single ad. I didn't run any type of marketing outside because I couldn't. It was just the confines of my home. So I said, man, you know what? Lou, with this can parlay into so many other things. You know what? You're a speaker. You're growing your speaking business. Start giving motivation around running. Start sharing your runs. Start giving that inspiration. So I would come sweating after runs, and I would just hop on the camera and say, "Hey guys, I just ran 2 miles, and all I need you to do is run 2. I don't care if you crawl, walk, or jog. Just run 2, and I promise you it'll be the best." And after that, we transitioned into a run club. And we built a run club in the community, and we were the first Black-owned run club in our area. And it was inclusive to everyone. It was inclusive, right? I go back to my mission statement. I don't care about your creed. I don't care about your race. I don't care about the ethnicity. I don't care about any of that. I just want you to be your biggest self. And we created the Run Club. And we had the first Run Club, we had probably about 15. The second, we had 55 people come out and run for us. The third, we had 60. And then all of us, and they were all running with me down the street just off of social media. And it was amazing to see the impact. I don't care if you buy a piece of clothing. All I truly cared about was you coming out and you ran and you felt great. And then all of a sudden, what happens? We created a community that still keeps in touch until this day. And now everyone can reference everyone. Now this is a networking opportunity. Oh man, you have a clothing line too? Oh great, hey, tell them about your manufacturer. Oh my God, you have a podcast? Oh man, hey, can I jump on your podcast? I want to launch my book. Oh, dude, you're in sales as well? Hey, I'm looking for a sales job, man. Are you having any hiring, any openings? Right? It created so much of a connection and community that everyone benefit. And I was like, if I don't do anything else, this is it. This is all. I'm happy. This is perfectly fine with me because everybody's winning. And it was awesome, man. And Big Ass Joggers is it's still going, it's still operating. We're relaunching the Run Club in July because of COVID, and we had the mask rule, things of that nature. But June 15th, we'll be back open fully in California, and so we'll be able to bring back the Run Club, and we're going to take off again. And I'm excited about it, man. I'm excited about it. I love it.
Dude,
I don't know if you're just lucky or if you're a freaking marketing genius.
I don't know what it is.
But I love the fact. I love the fact that you say, be your biggest self at whatever you do while I'm trying to lose weight.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
I'm trying to actually not be my biggest physical self, but my biggest self.
Exactly.
And so like that connection, I mean, dude, you're a marketing freaking genius. That is so brilliant, connecting those two things. I love it.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to the mindset we talk about. I just wanted you to develop a mindset. And it's funny because women will be like, well, I don't want to wear anything that says Big Ass Joggers, right? And it was funny because we'll get the backlash. And I'm like, no, it doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that. It means be your biggest self at whatever you do. And it means mentality. It means being the best and biggest mom you can in mentality, being the biggest cook, chef you can in mentality. All of it spirals back to what? Authentic impact. How you can be your biggest self at whatever you do and be authentic and make an impact on people that look at you as someone they want to follow. That's what it stems back to. And that's what I created it on. And that was the underlying message. And if you paid attention enough to read between those lines and embrace that with a whole heart, you will see the impact it made on you and it made on other individuals. That's what the whole cause was.
So one of the things you talk about is, in being your best self. And we talked about this in our last episode with Katie Zink, and we talked about the idea of success. And how success is largely a comparative measure, right? We compare our success to either some standardized measure. We're comparing ourselves to somebody else. And I want to tie these things together because, inside of this comparative culture, I mean, you talk about authenticity and being yourself in whatever room I'm in. No matter who I'm in that room with, I'm going to be the same guy and the CEOs, or whether I'm with the guys on the manufacturing line, whatever it might be. And in our last episode, we talked about that as a measurement of success and defining success for yourself. And I want to make the leap to defining this authenticity for yourself. I think you've already talked about why it's important to define who you are, but that's not easy. Especially somebody like you and your background and where you came from, and even people who didn't come from as challenging of a background as you, it can be really hard to defined what authentic really is. So what advice would you have for people from both this, if we take the comparative lens, how do you make sure you define yourself for who you are, appreciate yourself for who you are, and not use it as a comparative measure for your own success?
That's a great question. And I always tell individuals, and I always tell people this: think back to when you were a child. You probably can't, because you don't remember anything. All you could do is reference back to videos, stories from your mom and dad, things of that nature. But when we have childlike instincts, we're fearless. We're absolutely fearless. I can tell my son right now, hey, son, don't jump in the pool. And he's going to say, Dad, I'm jumping in the pool. And I have to dive in and I have to go grab my son out of the pool because he's learning through his experience because he's fearless. We lose that somewhere because life tells us society needs you to act like this. If I have this skin, you should act like this. If you have your skin, you should act. If you wear glasses, that means you are a nerd. They're giving you a label according to what they see. So for me, what I looked at is I'm going to carry energy because you can tell a lot. I'm introduced to each and every one of you by your energy, not by the words you speak to me. So, right? So for me, I'm going to give off energy without even talking. And that's what people need to understand, is about the energy you carry. For me, I've always been happy. So when you're innately happy, when it's in here, it's in your gut, and you can smile every time you see a person, even on your worst day, authenticity is easy. Because at the end of the day, I'm so happy. And one may ask, well, Lou, how do I be happy with myself? You understand that whatever's around you, whatever label is placed on you, that doesn't mean that's the package you send out. And that's how people have to come back and understand. It's about understanding labels don't matter. The same frame of glasses that's Prada from the same frame of glasses that's in Target are made from the same manufacturer. They just put a different label on it, and people believe that they need to pay that price for that label. That's the same thing with people. You start to believe in a label, and then you lose who you are because someone put that label on your package. And me, listen, you got to carry me gently. What do they say when they carry packages, right? I'm fragile. Carry my package with grace. But you know what? I'll actually deliver it for you. I don't need a carrier service to deliver it for me. And that's how I approach life, and that's how every individual should as well.
Has anybody told you that they're not happy?
Yeah.
And what did you say to them?
I always ask, go back to sales. I always ask why. What's stemming from unhappiness? And also, do you understand what unhappiness is? Because are you unhappy because you can't get the car you want? Are you unhappy because you don't have food on the table? How are we measuring unhappy? What's the benchmark? That's what it is. What is your actual benchmark? Because if someone came to me and said, Lou, I'm not happy, man. You know, I went through escrow on a home and I lost to another guy that outbid me. What? You're not happy? You got the opportunity to buy a home. Go to the next one. And so I think people don't really look at the foundation of what they're not happy with, right? Now, granted, I'm human, man. I'm not sitting here and saying that I'm just this titanium human that nothing could hurt me, because yes, I have emotions. I have down days. I have all those things that I go through. I have unhappy moments, right? But I'll tell you this, and this can go on record, they last this long. They last this long because there's something that slaps me and say, hey, man, you better get your butt up because you know what the other side is like. You better get up because you know that you control this circumstance. Obviously, there's a lot of unforeseen circumstances that happen, deaths of family, health, things of that nature. That's out of our control. So when that unhappiness is pushed on you, absolutely. I get it. We all need to grieve. We all need to grieve. But if it's something in your control and it's something that's extrinsic and it's not intrinsic, it's something that's actually not happening internally, that's something in a notion that you're placing on yourself to cause unhappiness.
It's the flat tire syndrome, right? It's
Flat
like
tire.
you get a flat tire and it sucks. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not the worst thing that happens, but you still need to fix that damn tire to get home.
Exactly. 100%. Because I'll be honest with you guys. I feel like I can. We rush life. As much as we don't think about it, we rush it. We don't actually sit in the moment and enjoy it. Like, I'm in Los Angeles. There's traffic to get home every single day, right? So for me, I have a time where I'm on the 405 freeway and I'm going down Skirball and I'm stuck, gridlock. I could be those guys that are like, hey, let me over, beep, beep, I need to get over. I need to hurry up and get home. Or I could be the guy that just be at peace of just saying that I have a car to sit in traffic. Because there's not a lot of individuals that have cars to even drive to get to A to B. So I'm gonna sit there in traffic and I'm gonna say, wow, thank you. Whoever up there is blessing me, thank you for putting gas. Thank you for giving me 4 wheels. It always comes back to handling life with grace and gratitude. If you can't do that, unhappiness will seep in your heart every single moment and of every single day.
Jeez. Lou, you are.
So I have this question about your authentic impact speaking business, and part of that question was why do you think it's important to tell your story? That seems a skosh redundant at the moment. Because I think you've really lined it out for us. I mean, my gosh, I mean, everything you're talking about is so motivational and so inspiring. So I'll take the first part of my question. You talked about being a shy kid, and you didn't envision this. So clearly you have a story to tell. Clearly you understand, what people need to hear from an inspiration standpoint. So how did you get to this point of wanting to be a professional speaker? Where did that finally change in your guts from being the shy kid to saying, hey, I want to get on the mountaintop and I want to help people. I need to help people. This is where I need to be.
Yeah, another great question. It didn't come until 2017, actually. I went to a Toastmaster, my first Toastmaster, and we were doing what they call table topics. And table topics, if you've been to Toastmasters, they give you a question, and out of that question, you have to provide a response. That response has to create a story, essentially. And we get around, and they're going around, and there are a lot of different individuals that are at these Toastmasters. Some people that are just very, very nervous to speak, and they just don't want anything to do with it. And then you have some that are probably newly introduced to speaking, and they have that itch, but they just don't know how to hone in on their message. And then you have individuals that just have that God-given ability to just come out and speak, right? And they got around to me, and I was in a group in a section with about 3 other individuals, and they were juggernauts. They can speak like nobody's business. They were true storytellers, professionals. They've been around this business for years. And I was so intrigued by it. I saw what they were doing, the way that they were delivering things, and how people were so moved by it. I was like, wow, you're just doing that through communication. And the art form of communication is so brilliant. Like, we don't use our words enough. And I just love that art form of just speaking and talking, because I can draw new conclusions and perspectives through talking. And when I got to the table topics and when it was my turn, they asked me a question about what was your lowest moment in the last 5 years or something like that. And I reverted back to transitioning from the NFL, what we talked about already, and basically being dead broke. And I just honed it all in about the serendipitous moment of it coming back all in alignment with meeting my wife, different things of that nature, you know, us getting married and all these different things. A guy came to me and he said, do you understand that you just moved individuals that have been storytellers for 10 plus years? And so we're done with that segment. And I was shocked. I was like, wow, I was just having a conversation. That's how I thought about it. And so we finished the segment and they're calling winners for table topics. I didn't know that it was a competition. I just thought that we were talking amongst one another, right? And I snap into this mode. My wife, she calls it the Lou mode. She says when Lou talks, everyone listens because she sees his vein like goes into my head. And she's like, she's like, when I know you're speaking like that, I know how passionate and I know that you're gonna move rooms. And that vein must have popped out of my head during that table topic because we get around to all of the different we get around all the different people that were there, and they get to one group and they're like, okay, hey, you're in second place. Are you in third place? And they're like, first place. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe this. This is first time at this Toastmaster, Lou Alexander. And I have the picture I'll send to you guys. And I was like, holy, you know what? I said, I just won a table topics in front of 75 people.
It's incredible.
That moment, it was like that Rocky moment. You running up the stairs and you up there and you just going like this. You just pumping fists and you're ready. It was a Rocky moment for me, man. I hit the mountaintop, I felt, and I unlocked another potential inside of me, which made me create the authentic impact because I was truly being authentic and I impact a whole mass of people. And after that speaking engagement, I told my wife, I said, wow, I'm going to be a speaker. I'm going to speak at universities. I'm going to help with professional development for universities. I'm going to help with goal setting. I'm going to speak at corporate to help boost morale. I'm going to also speak at leadership conferences to help them understand diversity initiatives. I'm going to do every single thing you can think about with speaking. I may even do one-to-one coaching to help people that need life coaching for celebrities, things of that nature. I just started these master plans. And you know our wives are like, hey, listen, bring it on in, guy. Bring it in, all right? You're big, but you ain't that big, right? But anyway, I say all that to say is that was the moment. And that was a defining moment for me, man. And it made me want to create this speaking business. And now, again, there's no stopping me from here.
Dude, I love it. I cannot wait to hear you speak. I can't wait till everything opens up. I can't wait till you and I share the stage together because it's gonna happen.
Let's do it.
Mark my words, it's gonna happen.
Oh yes, yes, yes.
I know you reached out about some speaking stuff. Listen, let's get together. Let's collab. Absolutely. I think it would be awesome for us to share the stage together, man. Truthfully.
100%.
Truthfully, man.
Lou, you are not aspiring to be a motivational speaker. You are a motivational speaker. Mm-hmm. You've touched us here tonight. You've touched me tonight. I love everything that you're all about. I appreciate all of the time that you've spent with us for these 2 episodes. I hope you'll come back. I hope you'll continue to be part of the Bob and our community because your voice, your lens, your experience is so beneficial to our audience and to our community. So thank you so much for coming on the Business Over Beer podcast. We're going to leave it there for tonight. But before we go, Ben,
is it time already?
Time, I know. This is again. It went fast tonight.
Wow.
All right, Lou, it's time for the final question.
All righty.
Lou.
Yes, sir.
This is a 2-part question. Are you ready?
2. Let's do it.
Of course it is.
With 4 extra parts.
No, only 2 parts.
All
Nope.
right.
All right. Lou, you're writing a book. What is that book called? And what chapter is the Bob in?
Wow. If I'm writing a book, what is that book called and what chapter? That's a good question. The book will probably be titled, and I haven't thought about because I'm in the midst of writing I have a manuscript and I'm in the midst of actually writing a book. So you just hit the nail on the head with that one. So I'm in the process, but I don't have a title. But just for the show purposes, it might be named The Big Ass Book. And you guys will be the first chapter of The Big Ass Book, baby.
Are you serious? Are you serious?
We're number one. We're number one.
You don't have a title for it yet?
No. I'm writing a book now. Yeah. I'm probably about 4 or 5 chapters in. And it's tough. It's a process, man. Writing a book is by far, it is a process, and you have to dig deep. I mean, we talked about it earlier on the show. You have to dig deep in a whole nother space to just find the creativity to have the storyline flow and things of that nature and have different people help you with writing. So yeah, we're in the process with refining what the book will be, and then the title will come soon as we start to write more and more chapters. But my book is every day, so I don't want I just want to continue to live life and draw from new experiences because that's how I get inspiration. So yeah, we're writing a book, man.
Dude, there it is. Every day.
Yep.
Every day is an
every day.
Every day.
Every day.
You're welcome.
I am telling you, Lou, that's the name of the book. Every day.
There you go.
Every day. I love that.
Every day.
Ben just made your book, man.
Hey, listen, man, I love you. I put you on the credits. I'll put you on the credits in the back, man. I'll give you a little percentage on Amazon or something, a little 10% kickback. A little 10% kickback or something.
Hey, it's better than Bitcoin right now.
He'll take it. He'll take it.
He'll take it. I love it, man.
Lou, man, God bless you. Thank you again for coming on the podcast. We are so appreciative of you taking the time. If people want to find out more about you, about Big Ass Joggers, about Authentic Impact, where would you like people to go?
Yeah, please connect with me first on LinkedIn. I'm huge on LinkedIn social. That's where a lot of my content goes for Authentic Impact. So please connect with me on LinkedIn. That's just Lou Alexander, and you'll find me there. If you want to find anything and any information about Big Ass Joggers, just go to BIG, A as in Apple, 88 jogger.com. That's where all my apparel lives. That's where we give updates for the Run Club. So if you're ever in California, please come and check us out. And then on Instagram, you can find me at Lou_BIG A88 Jogger, and you can find me there as well.
And soon to be on Ben's head, a Big Ass Jogger hat.
Yes.
And of course, as always, everything that we talked about tonight in episode 1 and in episode 2, including Lou's contact information and all his website information, will be in the show notes and the blog post for this episode. Please go check that out now.
Absolutely.
Canope.
Yeah.
If people want to find business over beer, where do they go?
Well, they go to bizoverbeer.com, bizoverbeer.com. The podcast links are there. The blog posts, fantastic blogs, by the way. Those are there. Any events we're working on, sponsors that we work with. And there's an additional one, I believe is called, what's it called?
It is called the Patreon, Canope. Do you want to know what the Patreon is?
I'd love to.
All right. Okay. I'm telling you. You ready? So like Lou talked about today a lot, it's about community. And it's about building a table with the community and bringing everybody to that table and understanding their struggles, understanding their needs, and getting them to the finish line. It is a community that we're building. We would love to have you join. We would love to have you part of our table and help build this bridge that we need to bring in the small business community and the entrepreneurship community, right, Lou? It's huge.
Yes, sir.
It is huge.
Yeah. Yes,
And
sir.
it's so hard to do it alone. You can do it alone, but it's very difficult. And with a community around you, ooh, you can get there so much faster. Just saying.
Yeah.
Lou.
Absolutely.
Lou, man, I have so many more questions for you. I think you need to have your own podcast. No, I'm not like I'm jesting, but I'm not in jest. Like, seriously, you need to have your own podcast. You are an inspiration to not only the community that you've built, but to our community as well. And we thank you so much for being part of this.
100%.
Patreons, people listening, people watching. I'm sorry. We got Lou here, though. Canope, Kaler, Lou, again, thank you. Good night.
Hey, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Business Over Beer reminds you to always drink responsibly. Our theme song is Idiocracy by Christian Leo. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Business Over Beer, a TH3 Entertainment production.